All right, hey, it's Corey Knight with Classroom Tech Made Simple. I hope you guys are learning a lot. So in this part of the video tutorial on iOS 11, we're going to check out just the general split screen and multitasking. So just to make sure that your split screen and multitasking feature is available and it's working, click on the settings. You're going to go to General and then Multitasking and Dock. Make sure that it says Allow Multiple Apps. Okay, so going back to the home screen, let's go ahead and try this. So say I'm back here at that website. One of the things that they've changed in iOS 11 is that the main dock is always available. So I'm just going to swipe from the bottom up, and you can see that I can access my dock. So I can add different things to the dock that I want just by holding down the app and dragging it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the notes, and notice how that has created that little box right there. So I just let go. And now I have my notes. So you can see that if I want to add a note, I can do that. I can just start hitting the edit button and it's created a new note. If I want to take any notes on this, it's right there. I can move it from one side to the other. And I can even change the side. So I'm going to drag this from the top. You see that line at the top? I'm going to drag it just down a little bit. And I can go back to the traditional split screen method where if I want it to be evenly down the middle or if I want to make one side a little bit smaller. Now maybe I want to take Safari and drag that and make that just the overlay of the app. Pretty cool. So that is the general split screen. And just notice that whenever you want anything to split screen, you have to have it in the dock. So if I have this right here and I'm dragging this and I see it's in the way, I'm just going to hold it and I'm going to slide it over and you see how it disappeared. Maybe I want to bring it back. I just slide my finger back, give it a swipe, and there you go. What an easy gesture to make multitasking so much easier. All right, so let me show you a few things on the notes. So say that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it over so I can show you the notes and all the features with that. Say that I have a picture or some sort of thing that I've taken a screenshot of. Well, I'm going to go ahead and add just a photo from this, and I'm going to show you how to drag and drop from there. So I'm going to open up my Photos app, and you can see I got some cool pictures from when I was fishing. This is a while back. Man, I love fishing. It's one of the most enjoyable things that I can do. So I'm now going to swipe up and bring open the notes, and I'm going to add that right there. So say I want to add these pictures. The drag and drop feature is so easy, it's so versatile, and it's just so easy to use. So I'm just holding down this picture, and I'm dragging it over here to the notes. And whenever a drag and drop feature is available, it'll give you that green plus button saying that's the go ahead. Go ahead and drag and drop it right there. It just added that to the notes. Very cool. Now I can do this with multiple files. So say I want to grab multiple pictures. So I have this one. Now with my other hand, I'm going to tap other photos that I want to add to this. Notice it just added all three of those. Bring them over here, drop them into the notes, and it added all of those photos. So now I added my photos into notes. So I'm done with the photos. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag this over, and now I have these photos. Now what's really cool about all of my notes, I can now go through and I can edit these, I can draw on them, and those same drawing features from when you created the PDF, it's right there. Pretty cool. What an awesome feature with the new notes section. Drag and drop is really cool. And that same drag and drop feature will apply when you're using the Files folder and any other app that has drag and drop features. Okay, one of the new features that Apple has come out with a lot of their apps is the ability to collaborate. If I ever want to add people to this note, everyone will see the latest changes. So I just hit the plus button with the person right there. And what I can do is I can either message, I can mail this to someone, and the people that I invite, they can make changes. So if I click this to mail, what it did is it just given me the note that I want to share, and you can see that it is allowing me to create an email address to someone that wants to see this and someone that can edit it. Okay, Really cool feature. I'm going to delete this draft. That was just an example. If I want to just share this, obviously I can create this as a PDF again. So we know that we use PDFs all the time if you're using apps like Shobi and other things like that. What a really cool feature that you can do. Okay, so a few more things with notes. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of all these pictures that we just added from the files. And I'm just going to double tap here like I'm just adding a normal text. So if ever I want to get rid of this side note over here on the left hand side, I can just hit this expand button so that I'm looking at the entire note. And I can type any notes that I want, any text that I want. Now there's a few more features with the new notes, and this also can show up sometimes with your new keyboard on different apps, and I just wanted to share something with you. First off, let's just talk about this keyboard. When you look at the typical keyboard, you're going to notice that there are some numbers also there. So you want to be able to access those numbers. So typically if I'm just going to write the word, I'm just going to make this up really quick, out. But you see how like on the T there is a 5 there? All I need to do is just take my finger and slide it down until the 5 shows up, and it'll add a 5. I have found that this is very easy when you are typing in passwords, because we know that our passwords are very complex anymore. So make sure that you understand that you can do this very quickly, all from the same keyboard without having to switch to the number keyboard. So you can just, with a flick of a button, just flick it down, and then you'll see that it comes up with the letter or any other symbols or anything like that. Okay, another thing with the notes feature. If you ever want to add a design, and I have a lot of students in my science class specifically, when we're doing things like atoms and we need to do some designs and draw what an atom looks like, I have students go ahead and just use the pen feature over here on the right hand side, and they can just use that pen palette right there that we talked about earlier, and they can just do that straight from there. If you want to exit this, you just hit the X. I'm going to pull up the keyboard again, and if you want to hit the plus button, you can either scan documents, that'd be like using your camera. If you want to add a photo or take a photo, you can do that, or just add a separate sketch, you can do that as well. If you hit this check mark button, you'll notice that it gives you a check mark, and this is really cool for creating tasks, things like that. So if I just go over here, I can now just click that and it will give me a check mark. I know that is very helpful with some people taking notes and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that check mark by hitting that again. A few more things here. If you hit this capital A and lowercase a, that is just going to be your different text features that you can do, or bolding, italicizing, aligning them, numbering them, things like that. And then also if I hit this button over here on the left hand side, I can add things. I can undo, redo, or if I have a website that I want to add from my clipboard that I've copied and pasted, it helps me paste it right there. So I'm going to hit the undo button real quick. Now, one of the cool things that I've noticed about Notes with the iOS 11 update is that I have the ability now to create a table. Very cool. So now I can add text within this chart and create a simple table. If I ever want to add any of this, I can always add a row, delete a row, whatever I need to do. So I can add that text right there and create a simple table. If it's part of my notes, it's very easy to use. What an awesome feature of the new notes section. So the new notes section has really come around. It has definitely improved since the beginning of the notes, way back when iOS was first used on iPads. Okay, so that is going to conclude this section of the video on notes. Next, we're going to take a look at how to screenshot, which is a basic iPad skill, and then we're going to take a look at the Files app. So I'm back here at the home screen. Another piece of information that I wanted to share with you is how to take a screenshot. Now this is a basic function of an iPad. So say that I am at a website again. Say I want to take a screenshot. Here's that example again. And instead of just making this a PDF, I just wanted to screenshot something very quick. I'm going to hit the home button and the power button at the same time. And you can see right there, it has created that screenshot. One of the new things that iOS 11 has allowed us to do is open up, and it leaves it right there at the bottom. So you take a screenshot and it's right there. So I'm going to do it again so you can see. Now if I click on that, it's going to open it up. Now it's going to give me the ability to crop that down to the piece that I just want. I can then edit that. I can do whatever I want. It's really awesome. I can Hit the plus button again to add text and annotate it. I can magnify it. I kind of want to see what magnify does. It's pretty cool. So if I need to magnify certain parts, what an awesome feature. You can drag that and magnify it. So I'm dragging that green line and magnifying it. What an awesome feature. So I'm going to delete that just so I can see it. And say that I either want to share this, I can add it to Drive, save it to Files, or I can come over here and click Done, and it can save it to Photos, or I can delete it, whatever I want. So I'm going to save this to Files because that's the next thing that we're going to go over. And I'm just going to click Add. Okay, now I'm going to click Done, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and delete this because I know it's already saved in the Files app. So let's go ahead and go home. Okay, back to our home screen. This right here in my dock, this is the files. Okay, this is the files. I'm going to go ahead and add this back to it. You can do any drag and drop features within the files. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Files, and you can see right there that I have already added my images. So if I click on iCloud Drive, you can see right here, this is the file. If I scroll to the top, what's going to happen is if you have different apps, you're going to have different locations, and I'm going to hit this edit button so you can see this. So Google Drive will be right there, and maybe another app. I've got the app Explain Everything. If I want to look at recently deleted, I can do that too. So I'm going to click the Done button, and I just want to show you how to use the Files app. So I can sort these by date, the size, the tags, anything like that. On the right-hand side, I can go from a list to just the tiles. I like the tiles because I can see it a little bit better. And one of the great things you need to share out with your students is how to create folders within the iCloud Drive. So this is the files, and I just want to make sure everyone is understanding that in the files, you're going to have more than one storage facility there. I'm just using iCloud Drive for right now for tutorial purposes. You get about 5 gigabytes worth of storage, which is pretty good on iCloud Drive. But if I were to add Google Drive, which I'm going to go here to edit, I can add that as well. So I just turned it off for now just to show you the basic function of iCloud Drive. So I'm going to create a folder. This first folder is going to be maybe screenshots or whatever topic. If you want your students to create topics and folders based on their classes, that's a good feature. I'm going to hit the Done button, and there's my folder. So say I grab this one, and I can also tap this one, and it'll add it to that, just like what we talked about earlier. Boom. Drag and drop. It's in screenshots. So now I have a folder. Pretty awesome feature right there. Now I can also drag and drop any of my photos and any other files from different apps as long as they have the drag and drop feature turned on. So some apps will not. So let's say that I want to grab this note. So I now have my Files app open. And I want to drag this over, and I want to save this note into my Files app so that I can access it anywhere else. I just drug it over there, and it's right there. What an awesome feature. So these are some notes that I took at a professional development. If I want to save those, this is last year I took those notes. They're great notes. I can drag them right over there. Pretty cool features. Okay, back to locations. So that is how you're going to use the files and the multitasking in order to make it a little bit better. Just remember that when you swipe up, you have the access to all of your files. One other feature that I just learned, so if you download the app called The Calculator, that's this one right here. Say students have a worksheet that they're working on, maybe they're using Shobi or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and drag over, say, the notes feature. So I'm going to add this to this so that you can see this. I'm going to add it right here. I'm going to go back to my notes. Say that I had some sort of answer that I wanted to share. So I want to show you this. Back to just this file. I'm going to go to the bottom of it. Say I just figured out what 15.7 times 1.3 was. I can now drag that answer over to a document, and it adds it right there. I just think the drag and drop feature is just going to make us so much more productive. All right, so that is everything with iOS 11. One final thing that I'm going to go ahead and share with you. Back to the home screen, the tips button. if you take a look at the tips, it's going to give you different tips that are released, and they don't release them all at once. What they do is they just give you drip content every so often, maybe once a week, they will add new things. So if you go to the tips button, you can learn new tips and tricks that Apple has created, or you can always check back with me at classroomtechmadesimple.com. I hope that you learned something, and I will see you guys next video. Feel free to contact me. My email is Corey@classroomtechmadesimple.com.